All right, accessory organs. So liver, gallbladder, pancreas. So the liver is a large gland, produces bile. The bile is stored, it concentrates in the gallbladder. So the gallbladder doesn't actually produce bile. If you were to have your gallbladder removed, you still are able to produce bile. Just if you eat a fatty meal, you can't concentrate that bile. There's a whole bunch of other functions in the liver that happen over time. One of the things, right, so save all your money on every single detox solution that people try to sell you. That's what your liver does. Your liver, kidneys, and lungs are all trying to get rid of all of those types of nutrients that could be potentially harmful for us. So bile itself includes a couple of things. So the bile salts are what are important for digestion. We'll get to those in a second. Bilirubin, which creates some of the color, is broken down heme pigment from our blood cells. There's a lot of cholesterols, fats, phospholipids, electrolytes that are in a lot of cases wastes that we're dumping into the digestive system to get rid of. So bile salts, what do bile salts do? People try to tell me all the time, bile salts digest fats. Not true. They emulsify fats. What does emulsify fats mean? Okay, so if we pour fats or lipids into water, they separate. So this is my fancy animation over here. So the little green, or at least whatever, teal balls are fats that we just poured in water, and over time they would accumulate. The problem enzymatically for breaking these down is that the enzyme can only work at that surface. So bile emulsifies fats. What does that mean to emulsify? Well, if you look up emulsify in the dictionary, it'll probably tell you something like it suspends them. What does that mean? I don't know what that means. What bile does is it interrupts the interaction, that hydrophobic interaction that makes them clump, and it spreads them out. Now the result is, instead of one big clump, we have all of these smaller clumps, and that creates more surface area. So, would you digest fats if you didn't have bile? Yes. What would be the problem? You wouldn't be very efficient at digesting those fats. So that emulsification is important. Problem with bile is that it's a salt, and salts, when they're dehydrated, form crystals. They precipitate, and so gallstones are a side effect of that problem. The gallbladder really just concentrates and is a muscular organ, so it squeezes out bile when you eat a fatty meal. The pancreas, so last week we talked about the endocrine function of the pancreas, so this week we talk about the exocrine function. So in terms of exocrine function, it produces the pancreatic secretions. So it's a slightly alkaline, watery solution that includes primarily the electrolyte bicarbonate. And bicarbonate, as it's secreted into the duodenum, helps to neutralize the hydrochloric acid from the stomach. Enzymatically, we see pancreatic amylase, which breaks down carbohydrates. We see pancreatic lipases, which break down lipids. And we see nucleases, which break down nucleic acids. The proteases that are produced and released by the pancreas are generally secreted in inactive forms and become activated when they're in the duodenum.